Hello, welcome back to more from the story of George Mueller, the man who lived in England in the 1800s and created and ran 5 orphanages, all done entirely by prayer. Today we are bringing you another story from Mueller's life, read from the new book, Simple Trust, Simple Prayers, the paraphrased edition of Mueller's journals. Simple Trust, Simple Prayers by Cindy Mallon is a book that brings you the whole inspiring story in language that makes sense to us today. It is the only paraphrased version of Mueller's journals. I'm Mickey, Cindy's husband, and here's today's story. Bold prayer. Is God in charge of the wind? Toward the end of 1857, November of 1857, we had an unexpected breakdown of the furnace at building number 1. We knew it was impossible to get through the winter without repairs. To know that and not do anything about replacing it, to simply say that I will trust God regarding it, would be careless presumption, not faith in God. It would be counterfeit faith. The furnace was boxed in with brickwork. We couldn't even assess the situation without tearing down the bricks. And yet, here we are, right at the onset of the winter season, with a defective furnace. What were we to do? We had not expected this. I was keenly aware that we had 300 children and infants who needed to be kept warm. To purchase and install a new furnace would take weeks, and the weather was already growing cold. Repairing the old one was questionable, and then there was the issue of having to tear down bricks just to assess the damaged unit. Even doing that would take days. How were we to keep 300 children warm in the meantime? I considered bringing in some portable gas stoves, but we learned that these small stoves would be unable to heat the large rooms. Plus, each one would require a chimney to vent the carbon monoxide outdoors. The small stoves would only work for small rooms or hallways anyway. Someone suggested the temporary installation of Arnott stoves, but these were also unsuitable and required venting. I was growing increasingly concerned and knew we needed to find a solution soon. Finally, I knew that I must throw myself entirely into the hands of God, knowing that He is merciful and compassionate. After prayer, I decided to open the brick chamber to see what the extent of the damage was and determine if there was any hope of repairing it, at least enough to get us through the winter. The day was scheduled for the workmen to come. We knew we would have to allow the fire to go completely out so repairs could be done. But notice what happened next. A frigid north wind started to blow on the Thursday before the scheduled Wednesday repairs. Now we had our first really cold weather, which raised the question, how in the world could we allow the fire to go out with weather this bitter cold? It was just not possible with 300 small children and infants here. And yet we knew without doing something, the furnace would probably just quit at some point. What were we supposed to do? The repairs could not be delayed, and so I asked the Lord for 2 things. Number 1, that He would please change that bitter north wind into a warm south wind. And number 2, that He would cause the workmen to work with all their heart and accomplish their work quickly. I remembered how much Nehemiah accomplished in just 52 days while building the walls of Jerusalem, because the people worked with all their heart. Well, that fateful Wednesday arrived. That Tuesday evening, the bitter north wind was still blowing, but Wednesday morning it changed into a warm south wind, exactly as I had prayed. The weather became so mild that no fire was needed at all. The brickwork was removed, the leak was found very quickly, and the workmen applied themselves diligently to their task. Toward the end of the day, their supervisor arrived to check on their progress. He informed us that they would work late tonight and return very early the next morning. Upon hearing this, the foreman said, "Sir, we would rather work all night and finish the work." When I heard this, I remembered my second prayer, that God would cause them to work with all their heart. And so it was. By morning, the repair was completed. The leak was repaired, even though with great difficulty, and within about 30 hours the brickwork was restored and the fire was hot again, all while the warm south wind blew. Here then is another story of how God took care of our daily needs as we were faithful in prayer. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this brief excerpt. For more information or to order Simple Trust, Simple Prayers, please visit cindymallon.com. Ask about a discount price for group orders. Thanks for listening. If you need encouragement or prayer, please write to us at cindymallon@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you.